we just got back from camping and I made a little bit of a boo-boo. I didn't raise my rear stabilizers before I raised the front tongue jack to get the truck hooked up, and we kind of made it bend a little bit. It's got a little bit of a wow now. It's not quite square anymore. I damaged it. It's still somewhat functional, but I'd like to replace it. So I bought 4 new of these 9,000 pound stabilizer jacks, a little bit heavier duty from what was on my rig. And they arrived here as soon as we got home. They look really robust and a lot more beefy than what we'll have on what's on there now. Comes with everything you need except for this knife. Has this little template for transferring the hole pattern. It's really a sticker. Comes with an extra wrench. Comes with the self-tapping screws that you need. And it also comes with a socket that you can put into your drill driver to drive these things home. So it should be a pretty nice, quick and easy install with pretty much all the parts we need. Let's get started. To remove these original bolts, I'm going to be using a 3/8 inch socket on an extension driver, and I'm just going to do it by hand. I thought about putting some liquid wrench in here, but it seems like they're breaking off pretty easy, and I'll switch to my drill driver in a second to finish them, but I just wanted to start by hand to make sure there was no problems and I wasn't going to snap the bolts of these heads of these bolts off. All right, we switched over to the drill driver, so just going to zip these off the rest of the way. They're self-tappers, just like we're going to be putting on, but they're going to be bigger ones. Pretty rusted, but still functional. And this piece is bent and pretty darn flimsy, and you can see paint's flecking off of there. And it's a 2016 unit. Currently, this is being taped in 2022, so after 6 years of use, they're not looking so sharp. We're on the opposite side of this jack now, and I got the other 2 screws removed that you can see. They were here and here, and we also got flecking paint. But interesting thing here, there's a bolt head with a nut on it that I'm gonna have to take off, and the only reason I think this is here is because it's probably an assembly aid, so that when the guys are actually putting this on at the factory, they probably have this bolt already here, push it up, put the nut on, and then they can do the self-tappers to get the to finish off basically putting the jack on. So we're going to take this off and see if I can use it when we put on the new one. So I am going to put some liquid wrench on this guy. It's not a flagged head of this nut or anything, so it's spinning up on top when I go to spin it on the bottom. It's using a 9/16, so I'm going to hit this up with some lube and let it soak in for a bit. This is the perfect application, by the way, for this Nebo portable light. It's got a little magnet on the back and on the bottom, and it just sticks to the trailer frame, so it's shooting right in that spot where I need the light. I'll link it to the Amazon in the notes below. It comes from Amazon. Really good light, rechargeable. It's a little bit of a bear, but I managed to get that nut off of there, and the thing is hanging on by a thread, as they say. There's nothing holding it on other than the fact that it's cantilevered up against the frame. So I'm just going to pull it down and show you a comparison of old versus new. Here's a quick comparison of the old original versus the new that we're about to put on. You can see this one's definitely a little beefier. This one is just shot. So as it turns out, I couldn't really use this guide hole. It's too big for the bolts that I want to drive in there. And I'm not going to be able to go side by side. We're using a much beefier bolt. So this is the template that was supplied with these jacks. And I want to drill where these 2 holes are and those other 2 holes. So I'm going to get a tap and a hammer so I can make the starter for the drilling. And then we'll put 2 holes in there, and then we can drive, or I'm sorry, a total of 4 holes in there, and then we can use the self-tapping screws to finish it. Alright, so I got my punch here and the hammer, and I'm just going to do the 1 hole, guys. And I'm going to explain why here in a second, because I really don't like, I mean, I like the template. It's a cool idea. But the problem with the template is it's giving you where these holes should be, and the holes on the top of this jack that we're going to be putting those bolts through, there's no slots to it, so it doesn't allow for any play or any slop. So you have to be like amazingly perfectly on. So what my plan is we're going to get the first hole drilled, we're going to drive home the nut, and then what's going to happen is we'll extend the scissor jack up into position where we want it, and then we'll be doing the rest of our punching and drilling with this thing in place so that we're sure with 100% certainty that we have the hole in the right place. We don't have to worry about any slop or being off by a little bit, and then we'll just proceed from there. The other thing I really like about this kit is they gave you the correct drill bit size for drilling these holes, and you don't have to worry about getting the wrong size. Bit of a battle with that end of that drilling. The reason you saw some of the smoke there at the end is I'm also using a product called fluid film on the underside of these metal parts, and it's an oil. Helps prevent moisture and rust. I didn't do it the very first year. It's actually took 5 years before I finally got to doing it. But now we have the first hole up and the scissor jack in place where I want it. So we're just going to try and drill use the drill driver to put this first self-tapping bolt into place. Alright, so a little bit of resistance at first, but then once it cut in the threads, no problem. Now I'm just going to double check the squareness of this and make sure it hasn't moved too much or wandered before I drill my next hole. Alright guys, so that's going to about do it for me here at the playground for today. You can see I put the other two in there, and there's another one on the other side. It went pretty easy, and I didn't want to waste any more time showing all the same steps over and over. So if you learned something, please give me a thumbs up and a like. Please remember to subscribe as well, so when new videos of mine come out, you're notified. This is John from John's DIY Playground. Have a great day.